Wandenreich. The Wandenreich, Wandenreich, German for Walled Empire, Japanese for Invisible Empire, is a hidden empire of the Quincy that were at war with Soul Society. After losing the war with the Shinigami 1,000 years ago, the Quincy escaped from the human world into the Siriidii, the place they believed to be the most unguarded. In doing so, they used erasure to create space in the shadows. This is what was called the Wandenreich, the Invisible Empire. Their plan was to use the abundant erasure that was only to be found in Soul Society as the source of their power, so they hid and waited for 1,000 years while gathering their power. Sometime after the defeat of Sosuke Aizen, the Wandenreich conquered Hueco Mundo, capturing Tyr Haribel in the process. In addition, they conscripted numerous Arrancar into their service and killed many Hollows. Organization. The Wandenreich is ruled by Yhwach, their emperor. Jugram Hashwalth is his advisor, and his substitute while asleep. Yuryu Ishida is Yhwach's successor. Yhwach assigns prominent members of the Wandenreich military, including himself, a letter of the alphabet and an appropriate epithet. Members of the Wandenreich salute by raising their crosses. Sternritter. The Sternritter, Schutterenritter, German for Star Knights, Japanese for Star Cross Knight Band/Order, is a group of elite Quincy combatants. Jugram Hashwalth leads them as the Sternritter Grandmaster, Schutterenritter Gurando Masuda, Japanese for highest ranked of the band of Star-Crossed Knights. Several Sternritter are appointed as Yhwach's elite guards, known as the Schutzstaffel, Schutzeshitafu, German for protective echelon, Japanese for elite/imperial guards. This group is led by Leobaro. Jagdarmi. The Jagdarmi, Yakuto German for hunt, ing, army, Japanese for hunting corps, viz., Hunt Army, of Hueco Mundo is a hunting unit which, in the wake of Hueco Mundo's conquest by the Wandenreich, is entrusted with capturing Arrancar to serve the Empire. The Jagdarmi is separated into numbered groups. The leader of the first Jagdarmi, the executive hunting captain, Tokatsu Shuryo Taicho, is Quiljopi. Soldat. The military is comprised of a large number of skilled soldat, Zorodato, German for soldier, Japanese for holy soldiers, viz., divine warriors. They can defeat low-ranked Shinigami with ease. Others. The Wandenreich have forcefully drafted many strong Arrancar into their army, who are considered useful because they do not need prerequisite combat training, but are regarded as expendable. Yhwach kills 2 of them once he deemed they had fulfilled their purposes, and claims that he can obtain as many Arrancar as he wants, having annexed Hueco Mundo. Drafted Arrancar have their Zanpakuto confiscated, and are given a Quincy Cross which allows them to form spirit weapons. There exists a communication unit that maintains the connection between headquarters and operational units. Headquarters. Over 1,000 years ago, Yhwach had formed a kingdom of Quincy named the Lichtreich, Rihitarehi, German for Light Empire, Japanese for Empire of Light, which extended to all the nearby countries. In the 200 years since Yhwach's birth, the Lichtreich had conquered the lands north of where Jugram Hashwalth and Bazbi's village was. The Wandenreich is currently based out of a large, ice-encrusted building known as Silbern, Jiraben, German for silver, Japanese for Silver-Wrought Castle, viz., Silver Cross Fortress, a large, ice-covered building surrounded by a vast city roughly the size of the Siriidii. The Wandenreich uses metal plates known as Gates of the Sun, Teo no Mon, to move around the large palace quickly. The headquarters is made purely out of erasure particles from the Siriidii, and exists in a dimension within the Siriidii known as the Schattenbereich, Schattenbereichai, German and Japanese for Shadow Realm, viz., Shadow Area, which hides the Wandenreich from the Shinigami. After absorbing the Soul King, Yhwach brought the entire Wandenreich city to the Soul King Palace, and drastically altered its appearance. He placed the main palace at ground level while covering parts of it with ice. He also connected the 5 floating cities nearby to the Wandenreich city, thus creating a massive Quincy Zachen, and formed a massive, tower-like palace with Silbern on the top for his new stronghold, which he calls the Warwelt, Veruveruto, German for True World, Japanese for True World Castle, because it will be the cornerstone of his new world. Uniforms. The typical attire of most Wandenreich personnel consists of a long, white, double-breasted trench coat with shoulder straps and a white, button-down bib. This coat is bound at the waist with a black belt, which is further adorned with a decorative buckle, and is worn over both white trousers and trench boots. Many members sport white hats with black peaks and a crest emblazoned on its front, which is reminiscent of the 5-pointed variant of the Quincy Cross. This insignia is reflected by the buttons of their other apparel. Some higher-ranking members pair this uniform with other additional pieces of clothing, such as capes or cloaks, to distinguish themselves. The Sternritter wear a distinctive white, ankle-length cloak over their uniform which features the Wandenreich insignia emblazoned on its back and often a hood attached to the cloak's collar. Apart from the standard uniform, a soldat's attire consists of a military beret, black goggles with white lenses, a gas mask which obscures their entire face, and a short, collared cloak. In certain instances, personnel have been observed wearing a simplified version of the usual Wandenreich uniform, which lacks the normal button-down bib and belt. Those who took part in the declaration of war upon Soul Society sported this specific variation, as well as a hooded cape, which featured a black mask in order to obscure their face, and a black band diagonally encircling their body. Each member of Yawatch's Schutzstaffel wears a distinctive cloak known as the hooded coat, Fudetto Koto, over their clothing. This cloak is fastened at the front with 3 buttons and features a large, black Hegel rune on the left side. 1,000 years ago, this uniform was approximately the same, with some members choosing to add accessories like ties and capes to their ensemble. Additionally, the Wandenreich emblem only had 3 points at this time, along with a tick marking the center between each 2 points. The current 5-pointed version would not be introduced until Yawatch began assembling the Sternritter. Equipment. Medallion, a number of those within the Wandenreich military, including all members of the Sternritter, carry on their person a round device which is roughly the size of a person's palm and has the Wandenreich insignia etched into its surface. When activated, this device can steal a single currently released Bankai in the immediate vicinity. Once stolen, the medallion's wielder can use the stolen Bankai's power at will, even after the original owner's death. They appear unable to exploit this power fully, for according to what Yamamoto experienced, Driscoll Bursey's use of Koko Ganryo Rikyu was noticeably inferior to that of its true owner, Chojiro Sasakai. Terminology. Daten, German for data, Japanese for information/military, intelligence, the exhaustive data collected by the Wandenreich on the opposition's forces, which has been distributed to all essential personnel. Parts of this intelligence include details on those considered to be special war powers and those in possession of Bankai. Medaraizu, Japanese for star emblemize, the process which the Wandenreich uses to steal Bankai. Schrift, Shurafuto, German for script, Japanese for holy letter, viz. Sacred letter, the name given to the letters of the alphabet bestowed to select individuals within the Wandenreich by Yawatch in order to designate them. The exact letter given corresponds to an appropriate epithet reflecting the nature of the person's particular ability. By having a Quincy perform the initial in-soul writing ritual and drink a cup of his blood, Yawatch is able to write an initial of the power he wishes to bestow on the select individual's soul. In addition, the granted power returns to Yawatch should the Sternritter die. Special War Powers. In their war with Soul Society, the Wandenreich have placed particular emphasis on 5 so-called special war powers, Taki Senryoku, lit, notable/noted fighting powers, viz. Special threats, who they believe will play a pivotal role in deciding the ultimate outcome of the war itself. These powers are important enough that the temporary detainment of just one prompted the Wandenreich to begin the invasion of Soul Society, due to their guaranteed absence. Sosuke Aizen was asked to join the Wandenreich as one of the special war powers, but he turned down the offer. Captain Commander Genryusai Shigekuni Yamamoto was not considered to be a special war power because Yawatch considered him weak compared to 1,000 years ago. Originally, Kenpachi Zaraki was listed as first among the group's members, but after Kenpachi's defeat at the hands of Royd Lloyd, Ichigo Kurosaki was deemed the most dangerous member of the special war powers. These 5 special war powers are exceptional individuals chosen for a very specific quality they possess that is unusual enough to be classified as an unknown variable. Special war powers. Ichigo Kurosaki, latent ability, potential to be far more powerful and dangerous than the average combatant due to his mixed heritage. Kenpachi Zaraki, fighting strength, his monstrous physical strength and capabilities, as well as his fighting skill. Ichibe Hyasub, wisdom, his ability to think and act strategically using his vast knowledge, experience, understanding, common sense and insight. Sosuke Aizen, Ryatsu, his monstrously powerful Ryatsu, capable of disintegrating other beings and repelling the overflowing power of the Soul King himself. Kisuke Urahara, means, his abilities to outmaneuver his opponents by perpetually adapting his battle strategy. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.